So, who are we defending against? Well, there are various terms which are used. People normally say hackers. Sometimes they're called threat actors, attackers, bad guys, whichever term you prefer to use. Now, these hackers can be state actors, they can be organized gangs, they can be opportunistic thieves, they could be what are called script kiddies, they could be insiders, that means your employees, the people working in your business. But we're also protecting against or defending against other quote unquote normal losses. So these are things like people just stealing, like your laptop, not because they want the information, they want the laptop itself, or even damage to your systems. Okay. So, for example, state actors. This is from 5th December 2024. That's just about a week ago. There are reports that officials urged Americans to use encrypted apps amid Chinese cyber attack. So there are reports that China had attacked America's telephone systems and collected information from there, and they could even listen to live calls for targeted individuals. So this is an example of an attack by a state against another. This is something which happens pretty frequently between states that consider each other adversaries. So who else are we protecting against? We're protecting against organized gangs. There's a report that was published by Interpol, the international police, about an operation named Operation Serengeti. This Operation Serengeti was carried out in Africa. They made about 1,000 arrests. They arrested about 1,000 people. The money that was stolen from here in the middle was about 193 million US dollars in total. In Kenya, officers cracked a case of online credit card fraud linked to losses of 8.6 million US dollars. The funds were stolen from a banking system. It's not clear if it was one bank or a system involving many banks. And then the funds were transferred to different countries. In Senegal, 8 people, including 5 Chinese nationals, were arrested for a $6 million online Ponzi scheme, affecting about 1,800 victims. A search of the apartment uncovered over 900 SIM cards. So there are organized gangs out there stealing, well, big money to some of us. Okay, these are organized criminal gangs. From November 29th, 2024, there's this report that says ransomware gangs are seeking penetration testers to boost quality. Now, I'll explain in a moment what ransomware is. But basically, these criminal gangs are looking for employees. They're looking for people to test the quality of the software that these gangs are using. It says here that qualified applicants must be able to test ransomware encryption to find bugs that might enable the defenders to jailbreak the malware. These gangs are so organized that they are hiring employees to test how good the software that the gangs use is. Okay? So it's a serious thing, not just casual. In this particular case, not just a casual activity. So what is ransomware? Ransomware is a type of malicious software designed to block access to a computer system until a sum of money is paid. So basically, it is software that captures your information or captures your computer or your computer network and prevents you from using it or using or accessing your information until you pay some money. This money is normally paid through cryptocurrency. Then when you pay the money, you're given a code, like a password, to type in, and then you can regain access to your information. So there are ransomware gangs which operate in trying to capture different organizations' systems so that they can extort this money from them. So who are we defending against? We're also defending against opportunistic thieves. I'm sure a number of you have seen this kind of text message towards the end of the month or the the early part of each month, you might be getting such messages telling you, dear value tenant, this is a reminder to make your payment on time. Pay your rent to this account. So this is someone pretending to be your landlord or your agent, and I'm sure they send these messages to random people. So these are opportunistic thieves. They're hoping if you don't check if this statement is indeed from your landlord, you'll actually pay to them. And apparently some people fall for this. Okay, so we're also protecting against such opportunistic thieves. Who are we defending against? We are also defending against script kiddies. A script kiddie is basically a kid or a young person with a script. A script is a simple computer program. It's basically an inexperienced hacker or attacker who downloads or gets instructions saying do this, do that, and you might hack a system. You might gain something. So for example, here we have an unfortunate story where some young men in Nigeria targeted a young man in the US. They pretended to be a young lady. They started communicating, I think on Instagram. They started communicating, and eventually they convinced him to send nudes of himself to them. Then they told him, if you don't pay us some money, we'll publish these pictures you have sent us. So he sent the little money he had, but they wanted more. So he decided to end it all instead. So these are the young men. One is 22, one is 20. Basically, I think they basically follow an established script. There are many people doing this kind of thing. They're told, do this, do that, say this, say that, and you'll get money. So this is an example of a script kiddie, although they're not following a script in the sense of a computer program, but it's the same idea. So we're trying to defend against basically inexperienced people who are just following some established pattern of robbery or theft.